When the Maori god of comets arrived on our world, he encountered sisters and took the youngest as a wife. They had 5 children who were bestowed the gift of fire, which their mother inherited. She was the Maori goddess of fire, Mahuika, and this is Legends from the Pacific. Aloha, and thank you for joining us. This is Legends from the Pacific, episode 131, Maui and the Maori goddess of fire, Mahuika. I am Kamuela Kaneshiro, a native Hawaiian professional writer, speaker, and Comic-Con panelist with extensive film and television experience. I study mythology, I've encountered unusual things, and I'm a geek. A big mahalo nui loa to all of you who purchased our Legends from the Pacific Book 1 and left a rating. I look forward to giving you a shout out for your review. Just click the link in our show notes and purchase our Legends from the Pacific Book 1 today. Later in this episode, your featured song in Hawaiian word, but first, let me share with you the Maori goddess of fire. As usual, I apologize for any mispronounced names or words and appreciate your understanding. Pacific cultures portray Mahuika with some differences. While she's usually an older woman, some cultures believe she is a man, while her Hawaiian counterpart, Pele, should be considered a different goddess since Pele has been seen as an old woman or young maiden in modern times. These different interpretations also apply to the demigod Maui, which we'll examine later in this episode. The stars flickered while the flames of Maui's fire danced in his eyes. While he and the Maoris knew of fire, he wondered how the element was created. He changed into a hawk, extinguished all the fires of the land, returned home, and slept. Talking woke him. As villagers complained, there was no fire. The elder calmed everyone. Someone needs to go to the great volcano, enter its cave to the underworld, and ask the fire goddess, Mahuika, to help us. Maui approached. I'll go to Mahuika. Everyone cheered as he changed into a hawk and flew towards the volcano. At the cave, Maui became human and chanted to the gods that they help him if he asked them. He descended into the underworld and entered a fire-illuminated chamber. An old woman faced him. Who dares enter my lair? The demigod stepped from the shadows. It is I, Maui. I'm sorry for intruding, grandmother. Maui? Mahuika said, I've heard of your deeds. Welcome. What brings you to me? Oh, great goddess, the land is barren of fire. Can you please help us? Mahuika studied her hand. Her 5 children flickered on her fingernails. She removed one and gave it to Maui. Take this to the Maoris, and please care for it. The demigod thanked the goddess, and she watched him leave with her child. Outside, Maui studied the fire and wondered how Mahuika gets her fire. He went to a nearby lake, tossed the goddess's child in, and it perished. The demigod ventured back into the underworld and told Mahuika he lost her fire. She examined her hand, plucked another child, gave it to Maui, and pleaded that he take better care of this flame. Maui promised he would, and left. Outside, he extinguished the flame and returned with a new excuse for Mahuika. Her chamber darkened as this continued. When Maui asked for her last child, she raged. Fire burst from beneath them and blocked the exit. Maui changed into a hawk and flew to the mouth of the volcano. Mahuika's flames engulfed him as he shot from the lair. He changed into human form and splashed into the lake. Mahuika erupted from her domain and poured lava after Maui. Maui prayed to the gods for their protection as the water heated. The sky darkened. Rain drenched the land, cooled the lava, and battered the weakened goddess. Maui went ashore. Weary, Mahuika plucked her last child and threw it at him. The storm split the child into 5 pieces. Maui dodged them, and they flew into the woods. Mahuika lurched for her child, but, facing death, retreated to the underworld. The storm cleared. Maui thanked the gods. Smoke drifted from 5 trees. He went to the nearest one. The drifting smoke was from an ember from Mahuika's child. Maui broke branches and dug for the fragment. The wood's friction created smoke. At the village, everyone tried ignoring the setting sun. Someone yelled they saw Maui. Everyone stopped working, cheered their returning hero, but hushed when they didn't see fire. They whispered he was defeated as he approached. An elder studied him. "You return without fire?" Maui smiled, produced pieces of wood, and rubbed them together. Smoke ribboned from the wood, and fire developed.
In the beginning, there was the Pacific Ocean. A canoe broke the horizon, piloted by Pele, a beautiful Polynesian maiden who dominated the waves until she felt safe to stop.
Our audiobook of Legends from the Pacific Book 1 is now available, narrated by multi-award-winning voice actress Emily Wu Zeller. Emily has worked on anime, the video game Cyberpunk 2077, and over 500 audiobooks, including Star Wars: The Empire Strikes Back from a Certain Point of View. Just click the link in our show notes to purchase our audiobook and enjoy Emily telling our stories today. Okay, lots to unpack with our story, so we'll start at the beginning, which established that fire existed before Maui's shenanigans. This fire was obtained possibly in the form of lightning striking a tree or from lava. So our story explains how Maoris were able to make the element. Next up, Maui's behavior. I'm sure some of you were taken aback by this. Well, Maui is portrayed differently throughout the Pacific cultures, so this was one of his crueler stories. Other versions of our story have Mahuika giving Maui all her fingernails as well as toenails. But with Maoris, it's more significant because the names of Mahuika's 5 children are the Maori words for fingers, thumbs, and toes. Depending where you are, of course, since there's regional variations. As a side note, the Maori word for fingernail is not a name of one of the children. So while some could interpret that Mahuika was pulling off her fingers, stories specifically state it was her nails. Other variations include Mahuika is the one in wood instead of her child. How she got there includes her hiding from the storm or Maui killing her and hiding her remains in the wood. In versions where Mahuika is a man, Maui kills him, then resurrects him, or Maui beats him wrestling. Then Mahuika tells him that he hid the fire in wood and teaches Maui how to get it. An interesting connection between Mahuika's children and their father, the comet god, is a comet's tail or trail. You see, it was believed a comet left smoke when it streaked across the sky. This smoke was connected to smoke from a fire, especially when it ribbons as it's formed from friction. It should also be noted that the Hawaiian version of this story does not involve Mahuika or Pele, but that's a story for another time, which our Patreon members will enjoy. Today, the New Zealand hawk, known as the swamp harrier or kahu, has some darkened feathers, which is said to be from when Mahuika singed Maui. Also, the 5 trees that Mahuika or her child went into are native to New Zealand. And of course, this was one of Maui's tattoos, which he sung about in the Disney movie Moana. So, what'd we learn, aside from Maui's bad side? Well, I wanted to point out that while Maui called Mahuika grandmother, it could have been as an honorable title instead of actual relation, since some stories claim Maui's power was given instead of being inherited from ancestral gods. The term grandmother was also seen in our Baba Yaga stories, and using these terms is a common practice with Pacific and Asian cultures. Then finally, it was interesting how Maui was almost boiled in water. This reminded me of our episode 55, where Maui teamed up with Pele to fight Kuna, the Hawaiian dragon or mo'o. Especially since, in Hawaiian culture, Maui and Mahuika's encounter did not occur. If you like what you heard, please give us a rating and write a review. I'd really appreciate it. As always, a big mahalo nui loa to our Patreon members: Christopher, Meg, Jessica Bullock, Edward Pueohenki, Felisa H., the Makuli Guy, and of course, Ren Shepherd. Your support keeps our show going. If you'd like to support our show, please click the link in our show notes and become a Legends from the Pacific Patreon member. Enjoy exclusive monthly Hawaiian stories and other nifty benefits. Your rewards are waiting for you, so become a Legends from the Pacific Patreon member today. Our theme song is Mystery by Tavana, courtesy of High Sessions. Sound effects by Sound Effects Factory. Our music coordinator is Matt Duffy, aka DJ TripleBypass. Links and show notes can be found on our website, legendsfromthepacific.com, including a link to a featured song, which is Eo Mai by Keali'i Raichel, courtesy of High Sessions. Legends from the Pacific was written, produced, and edited by me, Kamuela Kaneshiro. I also wrote our original stories. Your featured Hawaiian word is apele. Apele means flowing lava. An example of apele is Obi-Wan fought Anakin near Apele. Once again, apele is Hawaiian for flowing lava. That also really messed up Anakin. Thank you once again for listening. Mahalo, a hui ho, and may the 4th be with you.